First Chronicles chapter 16. They brought the ark of God and set it in the middle of the tent that David had pitched for it. Then they offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before God. After David finished offering the burnt offering and the fellowship offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Adonai. He then distributed to everyone in Israel, man and woman alike, to each a loaf of bread, a date cake, and a raisin cake. He appointed some of the Levites as ministers before the ark of Adonai to petition, to thank, and to praise Adonai, the God of Israel. Asaph was the chief, and second to him were Zechariah, Zeiel, Shemiramoth, Jehiel, Mattithiah, Eliab, Benaiah, Obed Edom, and Jehiel. They were to play harps and lyres. Asaph was to sound the cymbals, and the Kohanim Benaiah and Jahaziel were to blow trumpets continually before the ark of the covenant of God. On that day, David first appointed Asaph as his kinsman to give thanks to Adonai. Give thanks to Adonai, call upon his name, make his deeds known among the peoples. Sing to him, sing praises to him, tell of all his wonderful acts, glory in his holy name. Let the heart of those who seek Adonai rejoice. Seek Adonai and his strength. Seek his face always. Remember the wonders he has done, his signs and judgments of his mouth. O descendants of Israel, his servant, O sons of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is Adonai our God. His judgments are on all the earth. Remember his covenant forever, the word that he commanded for 1,000 generations, that he made with Abraham, swore to Isaac, and he confirmed in a decree with Jacob to Israel as an everlasting covenant, saying, To you I give the land of Canaan as your allotted inheritance. When you were but a few in number, very few and strangers in it, and wandered from nation to nation, from one kingdom to another, he allowed no one to oppress them, but for their sake he reproved kings. Touch not my anointed ones, and do my prophets no harm. Sing to Adonai all the earth, proclaim his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his wondrous works among all the peoples. For great is Adonai and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods, for all the gods of the peoples are idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before him. Strength and joy are in his place. Ascribe to Adonai, O families of the peoples. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory due to his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Worship Adonai in the splendor of holiness. Tremble before him, all the earth. The world is firmly established. It will not be moved. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Let them say among the nations, Adonai reigns. Let the sea roar and all that is in it. Let the field rejoice and all that is in it. Then the trees of the forest will sing for joy before Adonai, for he comes to judge the earth. Give thanks to Adonai, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Declare, save us, O God of our salvation. Gather and rescue us from the nations, that we may give thanks to your holy name, that we may glory in your praise. Blessed be Adonai, the God of Israel, from everlasting to everlasting. Then all the people said, Amen, and praise Adonai. So David left Asaph and his kinsmen there before the ark of the covenant of Adonai to minister before the ark continually according to each day's requirements, including Obed Edom and his 68 kinsmen. Obed Edom, son of Jeduthun, and Hosa were gatekeepers. Also, he left Zadok and Cohen, his fellow Kohanim, before the tabernacle of Adonai in the high place that was at Gibeon, to offer burnt offerings to Adonai on the altar of burnt offerings, regularly morning and evening, according to all that is written in the Torah of Adonai that he commanded Israel. Along with them were Heman and Jeduthun and the rest who were chosen, designated by name to give thanks to Adonai, for his mercy endures forever. Heman and Jeduthun had trumpets as cymbals for music and other instruments for praising God. The sons of Jeduthun were to be at the gate. Then all the people departed, each one to his own home, and David returned to bless his household. Chapter 17. After David settled in his place, David said to Nathan the prophet, "Look, I am living in a house of cedar, while the ark of the covenant of Adonai is under a tent." Then Nathan said to Adonai, "Do all that is in your heart, for God is with you." But that same night the word of God came to Nathan, saying, "Go and tell David my servant, thus says Adonai, you are not to build me a house in which to dwell, for I have not dwelt in a house from the day I brought Israel out to this day. I have gone from tent to tent, and from one dwelling to another. Wherever I went throughout all Israel, did I ever speak a word to any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to shepherd my people, saying, Why have you not built me a house of cedar? So now say this to my servant David. Thus says Adonai Tsabaoth, I took you from the pasture and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you went and have cut off all your enemies from before you. I will make your name like the names of the great ones that are in the earth. I will establish a place for my people and plant them, and so that they may dwell in their own place and shall tremble no more. Violent people will no longer wear them down as they did formerly. From the days I ordered judges to be over my people Israel, I will subdue all your enemies. Moreover, I declare to you that Adonai will build you a house. It will be that when your days are fulfilled to go with your fathers, I will raise up your offspring after you, one of your own sons, and I will establish his kingdom. He will build a house for me, and I will establish his throne forever. I will be a father to him, and he will be a son to me. I will not withdraw my loving kindness from him, as I withdrew it from the ones who ruled before you. I will appoint him over my house and my kingdom forever, and his throne will be established forever. According to all these words and according to all this vision, Nathan spoke to David. And then King David went in and sat before Adonai and said, Who am I, Adonai Elohim, and what is my family that you have brought me thus far? And this was not enough in your eyes, O God. You have spoken about the future of your servant's household. You have regarded me as the most distinguished of men, Adonai Elohim. What more can David say to you for honoring your servant? For you know your servant. Adonai, for the sake of your servant and according to your own heart, you have done all these great things to reveal all your greatness. Adonai, there is none like you, and there is no other God besides you, as you have heard with your own ears. And who is like your people, Israel, the one nation on earth whom God went out to redeem as a people for himself, to make a name for yourself by great and awesome deeds, by driving out nations from before your people, whom you redeemed from Egypt. You made your people Israel your own people forever, and you, Adonai, became their God. Now, Adonai, may the word that you have spoken concerning your servant and his house be confirmed forever. Do as you have spoken, so that it might be established and your name might be magnified forever. Saying, Adonai Tsabaoth, the God of Israel, is Israel's God. Then the house of David, your servant, will be established before you. You, my God, have revealed to your servant that you will build a house for him. So your servant has found courage to pray before you. Now, Adonai, you are God. You have promised this good thing to your servant. Now you are willing to bless the house of your servant, so that it may continue forever before you. For it is you, Adonai, who have blessed, and it is blessed forever. Chapter 18. In the course of time, David defeated the Philistines and subdued them. He took Gath and its villages from the hand of the Philistines. He also defeated Moab, and the Moabite became vassals to David and brought tribute. Moreover, David defeated King Hadadezer and Zobah at Hamath when he went to establish his dominion to the Euphrates River. David captured from him 1,000 chariots, 7,000 horsemen, 20,000 infantrymen. David hamstrung all the chariot horses by reserved to hundred of them for chariots. When the Arameans of Damascus came to help King Hadadezer of Zobah, David struck down 22,000 of the Arameans. David put garrisons in Aram of Damascus, and the Arameans became subject to David and brought tribute. Adonai gave David victory wherever he went. David took the gold shields that were on Hadadezer's servants and brought them to Jerusalem. From Tibhath and from Kun, Hadadezer cities, David took a very large quantity of bronze, which Solomon used to make the bronze sea pillars and bronze vessels. When King Tou of Hamath heard that David had defeated the whole army of King Hadadezer of Zobah, he sent his son Hadoram to King David to greet and bless him, because he fought against Hadadezer and defeated him. For Hadadezer had many wars with Tou. He also sent all kinds of articles of gold, silver, and bronze. King David dedicated these articles to Adonai, along with the silver and gold that he had taken from all the nations, from Edom and Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines, and Amalek. Abishai, son of Zeruiah, struck down 18,000 Edomites in the valley of Salt. Then he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became vassals to David. So Adonai gave David victory wherever he went. David reigned over all Israel, and he administered justice and righteousness to all his people. Joab, son of Zeruiah, was over the army, and Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was secretary. Zadok, son of Ahitub, and Abimelech, son of Abiathar, were Kohanim, and Shavsha was scribe. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was over the Cherethites and Pelethites, and David's sons were chief officials in the service of the king. Chapter 19. Now in the course of time, Nahash, king of the Ammonites, died, and his son became king in his place. David said, I will show loving kindness to Hanun, son of Nahash, because his father dealt loyally with me. So David sent messengers to console him concerning his father. But when David's emissaries came to Hanun in the land of Ammonites to console him, the Ammonite official said to Hanun, Do you really think that David is honoring your father by sending messengers to express sympathy? Have not his servants come to you to explore and spy out the country to overthrow it? So Hanun took David's emissaries and shaved them. He cut off their garments in the middle at the buttocks and sent them away. When some people came and told David about the men, he sent messengers to meet them, for the men were thoroughly humiliated. The king said, Stay in Jericho until your beards grow, and then return. When the children of Amnon realized that they had made themselves a stench to David, Hanun and the Ammonites sent 1,000 talents of silver to hire chariots and charioteers from Aram Naharaim, Aram Makkah, and Zobah. So they hired 32,000 chariots along with the king of Makkah and his people, who came and camped before Medeba. The children of Ammon also assembled from their cities and moved out to the battle. On hearing this, David sent Joab and the entire army of mighty men. The children of Ammon came out and took up battle formation at the city gate, while the kings who had come were by themselves in the field. Then Joab saw that there was a battle line against him both in front and rear. He selected some of the Israel's best men and deployed them against the Arameans. He put the rest of the people under the command of his brother Abishai and arranged them against the Ammonites. He said, "If the Arameans are too strong for me, then you will help me. But if the Ammonites are too strong for you, then I will help you. Chazak, take courage for the sake of our people and the cities of our God. Adonai will do what is good in his eyes." So Joab and the people who were with him advanced to battle against the Arameans, and they fled before him. When the Ammonites saw that the Arameans had fled, they likewise fled before his brother Abishai and withdrew into the city. Then Joab went to Jerusalem. After the Arameans saw that they had been routed by Israel, they sent messengers and had the Arameans brought from across the river, with Shapha, the commander of Hadadezer's army, leading them. When David was informed, he gathered all Israel across the Jordan, and he came against them and took up positions against them. David took up positions against the Arameans in battle, and they fought with him. But the Arameans fled before Israel. David killed 7,000 Arameans charioteers and 40,000 infantrymen. He also killed Shapha, the commander of the army. Now, when Hadadezer's vassals saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they made peace with David and served him. Thus the Arameans were no longer willing to help the Ammonites. Chapter 20. At the turn of the year, the season when kings go out to war, Joab led out the army and devastated the land of Ammonites. He went and besieged Rabbah, while David remained in Jerusalem. Joab smote Rabbah and left it in ruins. David took the crown from the head of their kings. Its weight was found to be a talent of gold, and it was set with precious stones, and it was placed on David's head. He took a vast amount of spoils from the city. Furthermore, he removed the people who were in it and set them to work with saws, sharp iron, and tools and axes. Thus he did to all the Ammonite cities. When David and all the people returned to Jerusalem, now it came about after this that war broke out with the Philistines at Gezer. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite struck down Sippai, one of the descendants of Rephaim, and they were subdued. Again there was war with the Philistines, and Elhanan the son of Jair killed Lami, the brother of Goliath the Gittite, whose spear had a shaft like a weaver's beam. Once again there was a battle at Gath, where there was a man of great stature who had 24 fingers and toes, 6 on each hand and 6 on each foot. He too also descended from the giants. When he taunted Israel, Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, David's brother, struck him down. These were descendants of the giants in Gath. They fell by the hand of David and his servants. Chapter 21. Then Satan stood up against Israel and incited David to count Israel. So David told Joab, the leaders of the people, "Go, count Israel from Beersheba to Dan. Then bring me a report so I may know their number." But Joab said, "May Adonai multiply his people 100 times over. But my master, the king, are they not all my master's servants? Why does my master require this thing? Why should he be a cause of guilt to Israel?" Nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab, so Joab departed and went throughout all Israel and finally came back to Jerusalem. Joab gave the number of the census of the people to David. In all Israel there were 1,100,000 sword-wielding men. Judah had 470,000 sword-wielding men, but he did not include Levi and Benjamin in the numbering, for the king's word was detestable to Joab. But God was displeased with this thing, and he struck Israel. Then David said to God, "I have sinned greatly. by doing this, but now I entreat you, take away the guilt of your servant, for I have behaved very foolishly. Then Adonai spoke to God, David's seer, saying, Go and speak to David, saying, Thus says Adonai, I offer you 3 things. Choose one of them, and I will bring it on you. So God went to David and said to him, Thus says Adonai, select for yourself either 3 years of famine or 3 months of being swept away from before your adversaries and sword of your enemies overtaking you, or 3 days of the sword of Adonai, pestilence in the land, and the angel of Adonai ravaging throughout all the territories of Israel. Now consider what I should reply to the one who sent me. David said to God, I am in great anguish. Let me fall into the hand of Adonai, for his compassion is great, but do not let me fall into the hand of man. So Adonai sent a plague upon Israel, and 70,000 men of Israel fell. And God sent an angel to Jerusalem to destroy it. But while he was doing so, Adonai saw and was grieved over the calamity. So he said to the destroying angel, Enough, now withdraw your hand. The angel of Adonai was then standing by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of Adonai standing between the earth and the heaven, with a drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders, clothed in sackcloth, fell on their faces. David said to God, What was it not I who commanded to count the people? I alone am the one who sinned and behaved wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand, Adonai my God, be against me and against my father's house, but do not let the plague be on your people. So the angel of Adonai told God to instruct David that David should go up and build an altar to Adonai and on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So David went up by the word of God, which he spoke in the name of Adonai. While Ornan was threshing wheat, he turned and saw the angel. His 4 sons who who were with him hid themselves. Then when David came to Ornan, Ornan looked up and saw David. He went out from the threshing floor and bowed to David with his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, Give me the site of the threshing floor, that I may build an altar to Adonai. Sell it to me for full price, so the plague on the people may be stopped. Then Ornan said to David, Take it, let my lord the king do whatever seems good in his eyes. Look, I will give the oxen for burnt offerings, the threshing sledges for wood, and the wheat for the grain offering. I will give all this. King David said to Ornan, No, I insist on buying it for the full price, for I will not take for Adonai what is yours, or sacrifice a burnt offering that cost me nothing. So David gave Ornan 600 shekels of gold by weight for the place. David built there an altar to Adonai and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. He called on Adonai, and he answered him with fire from heaven upon the altar of burnt offering. Then Adonai commanded the angel, he put his sword back in its sheath. At that time, when David saw that Adonai had answered him at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, he sacrificed there. For the tabernacle of Adonai, which Moses had made in the wilderness, and the altar of burnt offering were at the time in the high places of Gibeon. But David could not go before it to seek God, for he was afraid of the sword of the angel